Good morning. It's Tuesday, November 21st, 2023. My name is Terry Morgan, and we are here to practice. We have not a specific exercise that we're going to work on today, but the specific concept that I've been paying attention to, this idea of foundations. And for this week, what do we do with that for future? How do we look at what we've done in the past, which I beat up on a lot, that perception and that experience and whatever we've developed, how do we take that, bring it into the present, and then take what we have in the present and turn it toward the future? What does that process look like? And how do we figure out what it is we should be doing, what it is we should be paying attention to, what it is we need to ignore and get rid of, and how do we work toward whatever it is we've decided, I'm going this way, this is where I want to go, so I'm going to work toward this. How do we make those decisions? What do we do with that? It's this morning's class. One of the things that I'm gonna fix this. I need a little more floor room this morning. One of the things that I am doing right now, right, as we speak, right, is trying to ignore, I can't, but I'm trying, the distraction that's being caused by the roof replacement that the neighbor's having, and the other neighbor that's over there with his yard machinery doing whatever they're doing. That it has to be done first thing in the morning. Yeah, it's always been a problem with me. Do you really need to get up early in the morning so you can be out there at 7 o'clock with whatever machine it is? My answer to that is no, you don't. You don't. You could do something else, but it's kind of disruptive. Now, the roofing guys are normally up early in the morning and out there starting early because it does get really hot up there, and I can understand that. They don't do the roof replacement all the time, so yeah, well, that, and I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that. There's a couple other things that I want to talk about this morning, but this is one of them. That idea that there is a distraction. What kind of a distraction is it? How do you feel about that distraction? Well, the fella that's out there with his yard equipment is a bozo that doesn't need to be out there this early in the morning, period, end of story. It really makes me uncomfortable. No, that's not the right word. It makes me angry that someone is that inconsiderate that they feel the need to go do that. That response, as opposed to, oh well, as opposed to, well, but it's after 7 a.m., so they're entitled to be out there if they want to go out at 7:01. If they want to go out at 7, exactly at 7 o'clock, they can be out there at 7 o'clock with whatever they want to do, and it's legal. Yeah, legal and considerate are not always the same thing, and that difference, is it considerate towards other people versus is it legal in the country, in the area that you're in? It might be illegal for the yard work to be done before 8 a.m. in a particular community. Good. It's against their regulations. Makes it illegal. Doesn't make it criminal, it doesn't make it some other thing, it just makes it, it's against that community's regulation, so it's illegal. In this other community, well, it's legal, so they can do it. It doesn't take into account, is this considerate towards another person? That metric, am I being considerate towards others, is something that I've been evaluated on my entire life. From little bitty. That premise that you should be considerate of others, you should show consideration towards others, is not universal. It's not, everybody doesn't have that idea. They don't. There are folks who are intentionally inconsiderate. There are folks who are unintentionally inconsiderate. They're just not paying attention. They weren't trying, and it just turned out that way. There are other folks who are deliberately removed. They don't care. They're deliberately inconsiderate. They're inconsiderate by default. It just happens, and they're not paying attention, right? It's not paying attention and being deliberate are different, right? And the folks that are looking at it going, yeah, well, too bad for you, right? That's more deliberate over here. It's not, yeah, hey, it happened and too bad, right? That spectrum of what is the intent? What is the intent, the person that's causing the disturbance, what you perceive as a disturbance? And it's not, it could be universal. Everybody in the same room is going to perceive it as a disturbance, right? What you perceive as a disturbance, what's causing it? How do you feel about it? Upset you? I just have to live with it? I have to tune it out? What response do you have? And then what do you do with that? So, I have to tune out, if I'm going to teach this class this morning, I have to both be aware of, because I have no option, I have no choice. I have to be aware of the noise that's going on outside. And I have to find a way to disregard it, to make it less important than whatever else it is that I'm trying to do. So, for me, this morning, feet about shoulder width apart, stand straight, pull up through the crown of the head, right? Hands at your sides, wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. As we do this stretch, hands circle to the front, back around to both sides, up along the center line, right? As we're doing this stretch, I am paying attention to my surroundings. I am working extra hard to pay attention to my movement and the physical quality of my movement. Being able to relax my mind and focus on what I'm doing is just not going to happen. And fingertips reach up. Elbows drop down, wrists, hands return to your sides. Not gonna happen. I'm annoyed. It's annoying. And that recognition is important for my practice, and being able to find that recognition, being able to look for it, understand it, work with it, is important for your practice. That's why I'm talking about it. I think it's important. It's one of the psychological tools that we use in our own practice, so that as we're practicing, we're paying attention to what we should be paying attention to, not what we don't want. Alright? So, in practice, I'm going to do a little bit more on because I want to talk about the future and foundations and all that. So, in practice, we want to pay attention to our surroundings. We want to pay attention to everything that we're doing, and we want to focus on right now. Right now. What am I doing now? Well, I'm teaching live stream. The roofers are out there. I'm annoyed. I'm not, I'm still not, it's not going to happen that I will quiet to the point that I could, were it not for the distraction. Now, many times, and this is really a kind of an important thing. If I had started class at 6 a.m. today, there would not have been that distraction outside, and we would not be talking about distractions. We'd be talking about repetitive practice, which we are going to talk about. That difference. I started a little bit later, now there's a distraction, and part of the lesson has to be, what do we do with that? When I was very first training, very first, Huang had arranged a community center, recreation hall, and we had class there, and we'd go into the room, a nice big room, and we'd practice. And there weren't any outside distractions. We'd go in, close the door, nobody coming in, going out, it was just everybody in the room, practice. It was nice. Sometimes we go out in the yard. There's a park, so we go outside. We practice outside. There were some distractions out there occasionally. There's a soccer game going on, the ball come rolling across the field. There are several things that happen. That distraction made it more difficult to practice. Didn't make it impossible, it made it more difficult. And it set up a challenge. If I don't have the distraction, I don't ever learn the discipline to practice while there's a distraction going on. Now, in China, we're going to do a little leg work while I'm talking here. Alright, so this is from fundamental training in Yang style Tai Chi. Shift left, turn the right toes 45. Bring the left leg through, place the heel, transfer the weight. Shift back, turn the foot, bring the other foot through, place it. All of this is in a circle. I'm going to go back and forth just a little bit, nice and easy. Alright, and left foot front, right foot back, right foot toes at 45, left foot straight and shift back onto the right, turn the left toes to 45, transfer the weight onto the left, bring the right foot through, place the heel, transfer the weight and shift back, and keep going. Alright, as we're practicing here, I had started to talk about distractions when I was training in China. They were many, many distractions. One of the things that we did, turn and shift. I've talked about being out in the park at dark 30 in the morning, being there before 6 a.m., finishing practice by 7:30-ish, something like that, so that the people could go to work. I was there usually as a tourist. I wasn't going to go to work other than things that I was doing on my own. So as we're practicing, there were other groups of people practicing other things. There were people practicing ballroom dance, and they had music playing. And right next to them was a group of ladies working with traditional fans and Chinese traditional dance. And next to them was another group of ladies doing hip-hop dance. Yes, they were. It was early, but it was fundamentally, yeah, what they were doing. Alright, and there were so many noises, so many things going on. It was a busy place. The idea that you go out to the park at 5:30 in the morning and it's quiet and everything's, peaceful. Again, no, it wasn't. Not at that time. It wasn't. It was very active. Everybody was up and doing something. And I was very often a subject for observation, discussion. I was not Chinese. And that made a difference. The distraction made it both more difficult and more challenging for me to pay attention to what I was doing and develop my skills. The workmanship, then there's a discussion about this that I think is important. So the workmanship, Gong Fu, workmanship, that I get up and I'm going to do this. And each movement, not how many repetitions, because I'm going to talk about that in a minute. It's not how many repetitions as what you do in those repetitions. So, just now, I did several repetitions back and forth. Basic stepping method for Tai Chi. Alright, here. As I worked through the steps, my stance got lower. And my placement was more well aligned and stronger. That progression from I started, yeah, okay, here I am. Now I'm warmed up. I'm doing a little bit more. I'm able to increase my skill level and workmanship despite the distraction. Not really because of it, but in part because of it. If I wasn't being distracted by the noise, by the people staring at me at the park, by all of the things that can create a distraction. If I didn't have that experience and I had not learned from that experience to focus on what I'm doing and how to develop that focus so that even though, yeah, it's still a distraction and alright, that's still there, but I can also focus inwardly, that level of workmanship, that level of Gongfu. Neigong, internal workmanship. Nei, internal workmanship. Gong, Nei Gongfu. Nei Gong. Nobody says Nei Gongfu. Hey, you could. Internal workmanship. Wai Gongfu. Wai Gong. Nei Gong, Wai Gong. Wai Gong is that physical part, that external movement, what we're doing outside. Nei Gong, what we're doing inside. Being able to connect both of those, the inside and the outside, so that they're working together and that we're able to address at some level, again, your own level, the distraction. Alright, so in practice, I talk about the idea of repetition and the idea of being present right here, right now. So, right here, right now, in this stepping method, feet straight, about shoulder width apart. We're not using the hands. Shift to the left, right toes to 45, shift onto the right, sink onto the right, bring the left through in a half circle, place the heel, transfer the weight, push with the right, push into the left, stay there. Push down with both heels. Do not overextend the front leg. Stay there. Push. Down. Sink. Stay there. Don't go anywhere. Stay there. Which muscles are working? Which muscles do you need to relax? Which muscles do you need to use? Shift your weight back. What do you need to do in order to shift your weight? Be very specific. You've got change in the weight. You've got to shift into the hip. You've got to move over the heel. As you come forward, what do you have to do? Where does your body need to be? What does your leg need to be able to do as you move forward? Pull and push at the same time. And shift back. Sink. Drop into the heel. Both heels. Pull into the front leg. push with the back, center, bring the leg through, sink into the leg, place the heel, shift forward. Each movement, every time, what am I doing? How do I do it? What did I do that time? What do I need to do differently? And being very focused on that. Now, the same, I'm here, Bagua, walk the circle. Where are my feet? Where's my hand? Where's my shoulder? Is my body straight? Is my footwork correct? Am I leaning into the center? Each time, what about my footwork? Is my step even? Do I have the proper slide? Right? So, we don't do this, we do this. That slide through takes some flexibility in the ankle, it takes some flexibility in the hip. Looks like it would take flexibility through the knee, but it's not the knee that does the work, it's the foot. That stepping method, practice that. And just, you don't even have to hold the hands, just practice the sliding step, right? Slide step, right? How many times? Shinging, sing, each one. Set, sword. Where's my sword? How many times did I do this? Just that. How many times? Each time, I have to pay attention to the tip of the sword. I have to pay attention to the weight of the sword. I have to pay attention to what my wrist is doing. I have to pay attention to what my shoulder is doing. And as I'm connected, I also have to pay attention to whether my weight is properly centered to bring the sword around. That one movement, sliding step, each one, or just even changing just the stepping method. Step, step, close. Each movement, what am I doing? How am I doing it? What could I do better? What did I do that felt good, that was correct? What can I improve? Each time. For Tai Chi stepping, when I first started, I went to class twice a week, and on alternate days, so when I wasn't going to class, I would go to this empty field, disused field, nobody's over there, near where I lived, and practice 100 steps. And then I turn around and come back 100 steps. My leg work got good. It did. Placement, position, my ability to sustain my weight, my ability to move through each of the sets got pretty good. I'm still not too bad, right? That skill doesn't ever go away. Once you acquire it, once you have it, you may, like the field, it might fall into disuse, but it will come back. And the way to acquire it, if you don't have it, is, well, you go practice. For Bagua, my initial training in Bagua, I was in China. I'd go to the park in the morning, learn the set, go back to my friend's house where I was staying, and take a rest for a little bit and have breakfast, write my notes, and then go out to their parking lot, the yard in the apartment complex, and practice. Watch circle. 50 this way, and 50 back around this way. My stepping methods improved. Xingyi the same. Pichuan, 100. The other 4, 50 each. My stepping method got better. That practice is not, I'm going to do 100 sets. I use Xingyi. It's just a stepping method only, alright? So, Xingyi, I'm going to do 100 steps, okay? And okay, there's 1, and now there's 2, and there's 3, and I'm going to turn around and go 4, and then there's 5. No! That won't get you there. Won't. Left foot front, right foot back. Where's your weight? Is your weight centered where it should be? 60 on the back, 40 on the front. This is Xingyi, not Tai Chi. Tai Chi is here, Xingyi is here. Shift all the way back, turn the toes. What happened in the hip as you shifted back, right here? What's happening in your right hip to hold the body? What has to happen in the left hip to keep your body straight? What has to happen in the back of the right leg to sustain the weight? Shift forward, push into the left heel, pull with the left toes, push with the right foot so that your weight moves over the left leg, and you can bring up the right close in, slight circle to the outside, sustain the leg, place it gently. Push into the heel, pull through the toes, transfer the weight. Shift. Step, step, close. Alright, so the first step I did was Tai Chi. I went in real slow. That was Tai Chi, that was Xingyi. Xingyi. Set, open, step, close. As you step, step here. Don't overextend, don't underextend. Your foot goes out. You are moving forward. Turn the toes to the 45. Step through, close the back. As you step through, here, right here, this foot has to sustain everything and be solid, because that's what carries the punch. Punch goes with the front foot, not with the back. So, as we're moving, if I'm here to shift back, no. I just block with my face there, no. Right? Here, step, step, close. I didn't move anywhere to close. I didn't need to. I have to be able to do that. It's subtle. It's workmanship. Gongfu. Footwork. Jiaogong. Shougong. Handwork. Footwork. we have this 手法, hand methods, 脚法, foot methods. That's a foot method. That's a foot method. Slap with the toes, kick with the heel. It's foot method. Hand method, grab, 手法. That idea that we have these different methods and that they have general references that we learn if we know them, right? That, how do I say that? The combination of perception and language. So if I know that in Chinese, foot methods, this is foot, this is jiao, this is, the word for foot is jiao. I know both of those, I know that, right? And I know this idea of gong refers to method. I also know the word fa can refer to method. Yong fa, application. Yong, use, method. Translates to applications in the martial arts. 这个工具有什么用法? This tool has what use? 什么用法? What am I going to do with this? In martial arts, we don't say this hand method has what use. We could. 什么用法? I've asked that question more than once. 这个动作有什么用法? 我在干什么? 我不懂啊，这是什么意思? Twist. That's the meaning. It's twist. I don't understand what the method is used for. Those kinds of questions, right? 用法, 手法, 教法, 功夫. There are foundations that we develop that come from our experience, and this is, I've talked about this, that are part of how we learned. So, and I talked about this again, if I had not spent time in China, if I had not learned the language, if I had not studied quite a bit, I would not know. I wouldn't know what I know. I wouldn't know the different gates at the park at Remingoyan in Zhengzhou. Meet me at the south gate. Which one is that? I know. The Shima. 我们在西门来等你. We'll wait for you at the west gate. I know where that is. You don't have to tell me. That knowledge, that is the same sort of thing that we have in the arts that we practice. It comes from what we've done. It comes from our experience. It comes out of what we practice today. That future, what am I looking for? Future, right? I've been talking about the past, and here's the present, and what we're doing today. What about the future? What might that look like? What sort of things might I pay attention to? What might I be working with? What might be useful for me to teach? This concept, I haven't decided yet. I'm getting there. This concept of perception is one of the things that I think is very important. And how we practice, what we do in practice, the kinds of things that we practice, that's what gives us what we have today. It gives us the foundation for what we are going to do. Part of my segments now are really focused on what I've done and what I'm doing right now, so that I can get to what I'm going to do next. That process is absolutely something that everyone goes through, whether you do it intentionally or whether you do it because it's the way things happen. That sometimes you just have to let things happen. It's just, we gotta wait and see. Other times you just steer them just a little bit. No, let's go this way, don't go that way, go over this way, right? Other times it's like, no, not doing that, I'm going this way. That process of finding what you have, acknowledging what you don't have, deciding what you're going to do, and then defining how you're going to do it is what we all do in practice. If you're going to a school, I do this in my classes too. If you're going to school, you walk in, you do a warm-up. Teacher says, okay, we're going to start class now. We're going to do whatever we do in class. It depends, right? I do different things depending on which class I'm in. I'm in Xingyi class, what are we going to do? I was going to class in China. The general practice, we'd start about 6:15-ish in the morning, and group practice was Xingyi, Bagua, and Tai Chi. We do some repetitions in Xingyi, and we do some repetitions in Bagua, and then we do some things in Tai, then we practice Tai Chi sets. And then maybe we practice sword as well. And then it was time for individual practice. And everybody go do something, you practice on your own. You chat, do whatever you're going to go do. I would usually go try and find a spot to practice. And as we're going through that process, every day that I was there, right, that was something that Professor Liu defined. He's the teacher, he's going to lead the practice, he's going to decide what we're going to do. It's normal, right? When I'm teaching, I'm going to decide what I'm going to do, right? Everybody's going to do, this is what we're working on. That sense of having that definition, having someone else give you that definition. How do you find that for yourself? There's nobody here with, I'm going to define myself what I want next. What do I want next? What am I going to work on? I talked about this before, this idea that, this nice fancy jump kick that I'm probably never going to be able to do because I'm just not going to work on it. What else am I going to work on? Well, some low work. There's some things that I want to be able to do. There's some leg work that I used to be able to do that I'd like to be able to do again. There's some sets that I intend to record that I want to be able to execute reasonably well. If I was at tournament, I'd like to be able to give myself an 8.8 on most of it, I'd like to do better than that, actually, but I'm willing to go for the 8.8. That sense of what do I want? What am I willing to work for? What am I willing to do for it? What am I willing to do for it? And what do I hope to achieve? Now what am I willing to do for it? Practice, sure. How do I practice? What do I practice? What is the level that I'm looking to achieve? This is one step, right? Shift left, open right. Step 3. Yeah, it's alright. Not great, but it's alright. Shift left. I'm shifting too much. I way over, right? And now I did some funny thing with my foot. I'm more dancing. I'm kind of bouncy here, right? Shifting over here, because I got to get my weight right. You know, I gotta bounce to get my weight right. And okay, I got my weight now, and I couldn't quite. Yeah. Okay, now I got it. Okay, there it is. No. No. That's never going to get to the level that, as a teacher, as a judge, that I would want my student to do. Well, I wouldn't let my student do that. And as a judge, I'd be looking at, where's this person's teacher? What is this? What are we doing here? Right? Shift, sink. Sink more. Stay there. Don't come up. Bring the leg up. Bring it through. Place the heel. Hold. The heel's not on the floor yet. Now put it down. Sink more. Push through the legs. Don't come up. Straight through. That takes a little more practice. That's what we want. That skill. That workmanship. Not, well, I can do whatever I feel like and it's okay. That's not workmanship. That's dance. That's something else. That's taking form and doing something else with it. But it won't ever get that future state that we say, I would like to be able to do that movement well. I would like first place medal. Another one. Yeah, no, I could take another one too. And a couple more. And yeah, okay. Did you want to give me another medal? Because a certificate, I can have it. Okay, great, thanks. I have several. That was part of my motivation. I wanted to go to competition. I'm competitive. I wanted to go and measure my skills with other people. I wanted to go out and play. And as I did that, my skills got better. I improved. Everything I did got better. Because now I'm looking at other people as well as my own practice. Alright, I am seeing an error message over here. I'm going to wrap up for today. I'm going to talk about this again tomorrow. This idea that we take the foundation that we have, we build on it so that we can work with it today. And we use what we're doing today to develop what we're going to have for the future. I appreciate everyone who's been with me so far and everybody who's going to join me later. Thanks. Bye.